Welcome once again to the Bob Knight Show. Nice to have you with us today. Two games to talk about this week. Win last Thursday night over Northwestern, and then yesterday's loss at Ann Arbor to the Wolverines. Coach, first about the Thursday night game. You have to be awfully proud of the way the young men came back after sort of digging a hole in the early part of the game.
Well, I think, Chuck, the thing that we were trying to do most, I think, in the ball game on Thursday night was improve ourselves defensively over the first time that we had played Northwestern up at Evanston. We lost the ball game up there 66-64, and we really thought that and I think most people look at a team and they didn't shoot well, or we shot 41% in the ball game, but what we thought, quite frankly, was that we hadn't played very well defensively, and that we really needed to do a better job with our defense against Northwestern than we had up there. Northwestern can make things kind of difficult for you defensively because they spread the court. They've got a lineup that can use pretty good quickness. And we got off, as you mentioned, to a 9-2 deficit, but came back from that point and outscored Northwestern 72-36 for the rest of the ball game. So I felt after Thursday night that our defense had improved immeasurably over the last time that we had played Northwestern, and that also had to be an important thing for us going into yesterday's ball game with Michigan. We just kind of ran out of gas, I think, at the half. We've had some problems with some illnesses and colds, and where we got in a bind yesterday, not just out of defensive play alone, but when we got down 26-11, we just had to work and work and work to scratch and come out of that hole, and I think it just, quite frankly, took about everything out of us in the second half. In yesterday's ball game, we just weren't able to keep the game within reach. We let Michigan get away from us. We tried to get back in. We cut 17 or 18 down to 11, and then we just couldn't go any further than that in yesterday's game, Chuck.
Was there any one particular thing that did contribute to it, Coach, or was it just a combination of all these things that you've passed over here?
Well, I think that Garrett got really tired in the ball game yesterday. He'd been in bed, and he's had a difficult time breathing all week long, and when we got down by 15, it was almost impossible to rest him if we were going to make any attempt to get back in the game at all. We had taken a timeout at that point in yesterday's game, and what I wanted to do was see if we could get back under 10 by the half. And I said, let's get this thing, let's work it down, let's get it to a point at the halftime where we can come out and continue to chip away at it. Well, we got it all the way back down to almost even by the half. We were down 2 at the half and came out and had a chance to tie it in the second half. In fact, had 3 chances that would have enabled us to tie or go ahead, and made one of 2 free throws, and that was as close as we were to get. We got it to 40-39, and then missed a couple of shots, and then Michigan scored, and then it went up to 4 or 5, or maybe we got it back to 3 a time or 2. And we stayed in. We got down by 8, I think, and cut it back to 3, and then they gradually went away from us, and we rested Garrett a little bit when we got down by 16 or 17. Brought him back in, and he had 2 or 3 quick offensive plays, and we got it back down to 11. And I don't. As I look back, perhaps we should have tried to have played Dean 2 minutes and then out 30 seconds, and then in 3 minutes and out 30 seconds, and tried to pace our timeouts as well as we could, utilizing the TV timeouts. I'm not sure that I did a very good job with that. In fact, don't think I did at all. I think that we should have just really made a big thing out of what we were doing with our timeouts to help Garrett in his situation with the cold that he's been fighting. Where we have our problems become compounded then, because when he isn't at full strength, we just have not been able to get somebody that can add something to our scoring in that other spot. We take Garrett and Smart and Edwards out of the game yesterday. Those three played a total of 107 minutes in the ball game, and the other 93 minutes produced 9 rebounds and 14 points. Mm-hmm. And we just can't play that way. And we've gotten away from some of the scoring that we've had, and we had some pretty good scoring from a number of people over the 5-game stretch through Thursday night when we played pretty well. And now we've just got to find at least another guy that can score, and we've got to get some help on the boards. We just didn't have. We've tried, and everybody I think has had a chance at playing, but we just have not been able to come up with a second player that can play the boards. As I said, out of those 93 minutes, we got a total of 14 points and 9 rebounds, and that just puts so much pressure on the other 3 positions that we can't play with it. Dean, I think, really had expended a lot of what he had by the halftime. He was going down the floor. In fact, we were even hollering at him to hold back a couple of times on offense when we were able to get the ball out and get it down the floor, just to wait at the defensive end of the floor. We tried to move our offense around a little bit in the first half, consume some time so he could just hold position in the post and gain back a little that way. And then in doing that, we took a couple of ill-timed or ill-conceived shots that really didn't help us there. I felt really good about our team after Thursday night's game, but I knew we were playing against a different kind of a team. We're playing against a team where we're going to have a different kind of scoring. The nature of our lineup, the 3-guard situation that we've used pretty well, was not a real good lineup to use in the Michigan game. Mm-hmm. Smart had played well and had come back and really worked, and we thought had handled himself extremely well while not playing a lot in a couple of games and then coming back and playing more and more. Played very well in the Northwestern game. Jones did not play well. We decided to make that change. And now where we are, I think, is just looking at our game on Thursday with Michigan State, trying to see how we best match up against them and where we are in terms of can we, they play a double post offense, and can we get a second big guy in there to help Dean with the boards and some of the scoring, which we just really haven't been able to do.
All right. We'll be back and take a look at some of yesterday's game in just a moment.
Sure, Bank One calls them boat loans, and car loans, vacation loans, and education loans, and home improvement loans. But what Bank One really makes are people loans. We try to make them easy because we try to make them happen. In fact, getting a loan from Bank One might be one of the easier things you do. People loans from Bank One.
We'll put the tea right here. Now that's going to be a really tough par 3. I'm designing courses, I've got my business interests, and I've got my golf to keep me pretty busy. I'm taking care of today, but I'm letting PaineWebber take care of tomorrow.
It's a tougher course for investors with today's volatile market, but PaineWebber will carefully plan an approach that will help you reach your goals.
Thank you, PaineWebber.
Plan your tomorrows carefully today with PaineWebber.
Whether it's basketball or business, you can't win without a game plan. This is Bob Knight for Federated Insurance. I have to constantly revise our game plan. Have you looked lately at your business insurance game plan? Federated Insurance can design a great game plan for your insurance with their Right Report, a comprehensive analysis of your needs. Call your Federated representative today about their Right Report. Another way Federated writes it right.
Talking about yesterday's game, halftime score was 40-38. Coach, I had a feeling as I was coming to the studio that the second half, and going back to the thing that you've talked about so many times, the first 5 minutes of the first and second half, and I really felt strongly that if Indiana could come out and play a good 5 minutes and maybe get Michigan into a half-court game at that time, that you really stood a chance of staying in that game.
We couldn't, and we talked at the half, Chuck, about not letting Michigan get away from us. I felt at the half that we just could not afford to let Michigan get into double-figure lead against us, because we had almost let the game get away from us in the first half when we were down 15. And in the game yesterday, we just weren't able to maintain the kind of differential through the first 10 minutes of the second half that we had to have. We either had to play them ahead, even, or not very far behind. And they got too far ahead of us, and we just couldn't. We had some mistakes in our defensive conversion. We didn't get back down the floor real well a couple of times. We jarred the ball loose, didn't come up with it. Michigan had a really good stretch in the latter part of the first 10 minutes of the second half, where they posted and scored, and Hughes hit some baskets for them from 16 or 17 feet. And again, Garrett was in a situation, I think, where he was giving us everything he had, but he'd given us most all of it by that time, fighting the congestion and everything that he has been. What we've got to do in going into our games this week is to see that he gets as much rest as possible. I don't plan on him practicing at all tomorrow, and in one way that may be very good. That means that as we go through our practices, Garrett is always the primary scorer that we have in practice. And so as we work in practice tomorrow, somebody else will have to score, and somebody else will be involved in our offense from that standpoint. And we'll use move around and use different people and just see if we can come up with somebody that can provide us with some scoring help and some rebounding help. We'll approach the game as though Garrett would not be able to play, and see what we can do from the standpoint of getting a guy ready to play that can give us some help inside.
Okay, let's take a very quick look at just a few seconds or minutes of the second half. It is a 2-point game still, Michigan, and Indiana with the ball.
Michigan stayed in a man-to-man defense the whole ball game, and Michigan, I think, played well against us. Here we take Garrett to the free throw line, and if I make a comment here, as I see the Michigan people waving things in the background, we got a little bit of that from our own crowd here in the last couple of games that we've played. And one of the Northwestern kids on Thursday night got in a little scrape where he pulled away from somebody or threw his arm in getting away from someone, and our crowd started getting on him. We really don't need that here. We don't need people waving behind the baskets, and we just don't want it. That's not the kind of support that we want from our crowd, and it's not the kind of support that we've ever needed, and we hope that our crowd will cooperate with us on Thursday night and maintain the kind of level of sportsmanship that we've always had here, which is just absolutely untouched anywhere in the country. This part of the ball game, Chuck, was critical for us because we were hanging in here. We'd made a bad ball handling error after Michigan had scored a moment ago when I was talking about the crowd that gave them a basket. So instead of 1 point deficit, we're looking at a 3 point deficit, and I think had we been able here to have stayed even, maybe gotten a 2 or 3 point lead, that in itself gives a team a little bit of incentive to keep things going, and maybe we could have just stayed with it long enough as we did last Saturday when we played Illinois. I thought we were able to stay with Illinois just long enough that all of a sudden now we know we have a chance to win the ball game, and then that turns the adrenaline on a little bit, and everybody gets to playing a little bit better. And we just didn't have that there, as we're careless here with the pass. See, that's 4 points that we've given away right here at the start of the second half, where we've passed and caught carelessly. And so instead of looking at a 3 point deficit in the ball, bringing it back to 1, we're looking at a 7 point deficit. And now you just can't afford. I think Edwards hits this shot and take that back without the 2 buckets that we've given away, and we're right back at even with them 3 or 4 minutes into the second half, which we've got to feel good about. We know, hey, we're staying right there. We're doing what we've got to do, and here even would have put us in a position where a score, Chuck, enables us to go ahead in the ball game. We get a good shot there and don't make it, and this is about at a point where the thing is going to open up on us here, Chuck, and we're not going to really be able to sustain things in this ball game much beyond that point. We made some errors in handling the basketball when we played Michigan here in Bloomington 2 or 3 weeks ago, and made some critical errors in handling the ball in the ball game up there yesterday. And we have not got a real large margin for error, and we can't create problems for ourselves by providing offense for the other team, and that was one of the major points that we discussed in going into yesterday's ball game. But unfortunately, from our standpoint, we did just that. Our offense and our ball handling to a degree became an offense for Michigan in far too many situations for us to be able to cope with effectively.
Coach, one thing, just as an observation, did Michigan make any adjustment yesterday in the second half on Edwards that kept him from the ball?
Well, Chuck, in looking at the tape, the major adjustment that was made was Edwards was held constantly, and grabbed and held, and I don't know that I've seen a game where that has happened since several years ago when we played Ohio State here in a game, and Woodson was constantly held, and finally that got straightened out in the second half. But this took place in the second half, and Edwards still scored 11 points, but just had such an incredibly difficult time breaking contact with the defensive player, contact that shouldn't have been allowed to exist in the first place.
All right, we'll return with a look at this week in just a minute.
I like it. No, I love it. The price is good. In fact, it's great. I want it. I'll take it. You will hold it for me a few days until I arrange financing, won't you?
Before you buy, get your bucks in a row with loan in advance from Bank One.
Would you prefer a check or cash?
Loan in advance from Bank One.
When one of our players gets hurt, we count on our bench to keep us in the game. When your business is hurting, can you count on your bench to do the same? This is Bob Knight for Federated Insurance. You have to plan for all possibilities to win. That's why Federated has the right report, a comprehensive analysis for all your insurance needs. Call your local Federated representative today for details on the right report. Another way Federated writes it right.
Hello? Mom, I was afraid you wouldn't be home.
I'm not. I forwarded our calls to Grandma's. We're all here.
Mom, I won.
We're so happy for you.
We love you. I feel like you guys are right here with me.
We're with you all right, honey.
Some calls are much too important to miss. Get call forwarding from Indiana Bell.
You've already mentioned that you're going to rest Garrett, give him a breather tomorrow. Are you going to practice at all today?
No, we're not. We're just going to come in late this afternoon, Chuck, and talk about Michigan State and what we have to do against them. And then we'll work on it, although we'll cut back the amount of time that we work Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in getting ready for Thursday's game. But I think one of the things, as I mentioned a moment ago, that we need to do is find some help for Dean inside. And maybe without him working, we can get a little bit of that help here in the next couple of days. That would be a carryover then into the games that we're going to play. I just add one other thought on Thursday night's game, and I hope that everyone will help us with that, and that's that we just absolutely all work at retaining the kind of sportsmanship that has become traditional in Assembly Hall.
Well, I don't think you're going to find anyone disagree with that, Coach. And the best of fortunes to you and the team this week. Thank you so much. I'll be back with a final word in just a minute.
It all starts with people. People who make it a matter of pride to do their very best. Until what you have is a financial giant with over $17 billion in assets serving 1 million customers throughout the Midwest. 15,000 people sharing the same simple philosophy.
We're a company, a winning team of 15,000 people who care. Bank One.
See that little guy there? He just might have what it takes.
Maybe you have someone at home like that. Then start thinking about college. A College Sure CD at PaineWebber. College costs keep growing, but a College Sure CD guarantees you'll have enough when your child's old enough. It's FDIC insured, and PaineWebber is the only investment firm that has it. College? Sure. Another reason to say,
thank you, PaineWebber.
Yeah, thank you, PaineWebber.
College Sure at PaineWebber.
Need a phone number in a hurry?
Hello, Pete's Pest Control. I've got a slight insect problem.
There's only one place you know you'll find it.
How fast can you get here?
Ameritech Pages Plus, the original Indiana Bell Yellow Pages. Need a little help around the house? Look in the book where you've always found it.
Let's see. Roofers.
Ameritech Pages Plus. Next to the phone, there's nothing better.
There may be some people out there who might take issue with what Coach has just said a moment ago. Certainly not fans who have attended at Indiana, because I can attest to the fact that in my travels throughout the Big Ten and other places where I have done games across this nation, you indeed don't find fans as loyal, you don't find fans as courteous as you do right here at Indiana. And so I do concert with Coach in saying that let's keep this kind of sportsmanship up, and let's show these other teams that come in the kind of fans that we really are here at Indiana. Michigan State this coming Thursday night. They posed a problem up there. Let's hope that the team is ready and capable of playing this coming Thursday and give their all. I know you fans will give your all. We will be back next Sunday at this same time on the Bob Knight Show. Thank you so much for being with us, and until then, so long for now.
Some of Bob Knight's guests will receive a gift from Moen, who feature a complete line of single and two-handle faucets with a lifetime warranty against leaks and drips. Moen, faucets for a lifetime. The Bob Knight Show has been brought to you by Federated Insurance. Federated writes it right. By Bank One. We're 15,000 people who care. By the over 40 financial professionals at PaineWebber in Indiana. And by Indiana Bell and the Ameritech family of companies.